Every man at some point faces a moment of quiet suspicion, a shift in tone, a change in presence, a feeling that something or someone isn't the same anymore. It's in these moments that the mind starts to spin. We question, we analyze, we replay every word, every message, every glance, and in doing so, we lose our peace. But the Stoics would say, truth does not hide in chaos. It reveals itself in stillness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it." So, when you feel uncertainty in love, when you suspect deception or distance, the first step isn't to chase proof, it's to reclaim your peace, because only from stillness can you see what's real. The one Stoic question that reveals truth in any relationship isn't about her, it's about you. What is within my control right now? This single question transforms how you handle doubt, betrayal, or emotional chaos. And in this video, we'll explore 10 Stoic lessons that will help you master yourself, not through suspicion, but through clarity, strength, and emotional sovereignty. Control what you can, release what you can't. The foundation of Stoicism is control. Epictetus divided life into two categories: what depends on us and what does not. You cannot control another person's actions, loyalty, or honesty, but you can control how you respond to uncertainty. When you obsess over someone else's truth, you give away your power. When you focus on your own integrity, you reclaim it. Modern example, you sense distance in a partner. Most men panic. They question, argue, demand reassurance. But a Stoic man pauses and asks, what part of the situation is within my power? The answer, your attitude, your composure, your standards. Practical Stoic practice. Each morning, write down 3 things that are fully in your control. When anxiety rises, return to that list. It's not cold detachment, it's emotional discipline. There are 2 kinds of trouble in life: the trouble you can change and the trouble you cannot. The ancient Stoics made this distinction the heart of their practice. They taught that peace of mind depends less on changing the world than on learning clearly which parts of life are within your authority and which parts are not. This is not passive resignation. It is active clarity. It is the discipline of a mind that refuses to be consumed by what it cannot steer, and instead channels all its energy into what it can shape. A Stoic foundation. Epictetus begins his handbook by dividing existence into 2 domains: things that depend on us and things that do not. Our judgments, intentions, and actions fall within us. Other people's choices, the past, the weather, or the outcomes of many efforts do not. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and Stoic practitioner, repeatedly reminded himself of the same lesson. He wrote that we possess power over our own mind, but not over external events. Seneca taught that anxiety arises when we attach our well-being to things beyond our control. Taken together, the Stoics handed down a simple but radical rule: direct your energy where it has causal power. Let go where it does not. Why this matters today. Modern life amplifies temptations to control the uncontrollable. Notifications pull us into other people's agendas. Social comparison makes outcomes feel like judgments on our worth. When something goes wrong, a job loss, a conflict, a relationship strain, the instinctive reaction is to wrestle with it, to force a fix. But wrestling the uncontrollable wastes attention and depletes resilience. It also produces distorted thinking, catastrophizing rumination, and the illusion that if we try harder we can rewrite others' choices or reverse time. By contrast, the Stoic distinction clears the fog. It restores agency. It prevents small losses from ballooning into life-consuming crises. When you learn to allocate effort to where it matters, your actions become more effective and your mind calmer. Concrete examples, modern contexts. Work. You can control the quality of your work, your punctuality, your preparedness. You cannot control company reorganizations, market shifts, or a manager's mood. Acting on what you can control, improving competence, documenting your contributions, expanding skills, increases your options. Obsessing about office politics or imagined slights only drains energy. Relationships. You can control your words, your presence, your boundaries. You cannot control another person's feelings, timing, or choices. If someone withdraws, the Stoic response is to tend to your own integrity and communication. Then allow space for their process. Trying to force reconnection usually backfires. Health. You can control diet, sleep, exercise, and seeking medical care. You cannot control every genetic predisposition or chance illness. Invest in healthy habits. They reliably improve outcomes, but avoid turning every bodily sensation into catastrophic certainty. External events. You cannot stop storms, stock market swings, or macro events. You can, however, plan and prepare, build an emergency fund, maintain an adaptable skill set, and practice calm decision-making when things shift. How to practice it. A practical Stoic routine. Morning audit. 5 minutes. List 3 things today that are fully under your control. Attitude. Actions schedule. List 3 things likely to happen today that you cannot control. Others' responses. Traffic, weather. Decide one constructive action for each controllable item. The pause. Question. When anxiety or anger rises, ask, is this within my power to change right now? If yes, act. If no, let the thought pass or reframe it into what you can do instead. Action over rumination. Transform worry into a concrete, small step. If you're worried about a project, draft 1 page, email 1 person, or clarify 1 requirement. If nothing can be done now, schedule a time to revisit it rather than living in constant reactivity. Boundaries as practice. Where someone else's behavior is harmful, respond by changing your actions. State your limit, protect your time, step away if needed. You can't control them, but you can control your environment. Reflection. Evening. Note where you wasted energy on the uncontrollable and where you invested it wisely. Small awareness turns into better allocation over time. Mental reframing techniques from, why is this happening to me, to what can I do right now? This shifts from victimhood to agency, from if I don't fix this, I'll fail, to if I do my part, I'll accept the rest. This accepts limits without passivity. From I must have certainty to I will act in the face of uncertainty. Stoic courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to be paralyzed by it. Historical echoes. How the philosophers lived. Epictetus, once a slave. He taught that freedom begins within. He refused to waste energy on his former status and instead focused on his judgments and choices. That inward command became his liberation. Seneca, writing from Rome's wealth and opportunity, he still emphasized preparedness for loss and the daily training of the mind to accept what may be taken away. He practiced pre-loss rehearsal, premeditatio malorum. Imagine losing what you have to appreciate it and to prepare emotionally. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of a vast empire. He could not control legions, weather, or court politics. He concentrated on his own reasoned action, clear thought, duty, and moral example. His meditations are a continuous rehearsal of the control-release principle. These were not abstract ideas. They were daily habits. Their resilience came from repeatedly asking in every circumstance, what is mine to do here? Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Pitfall: mistaking control for influence. Solution: influence is possible. Control is not. Use influence wisely, but don't confuse effort with guaranteed outcome. Pitfall: using letting go as avoidance. Solution: letting go is not giving up. It's ceasing to fight the unchangeable while still doing the work you can. Pitfall: emotional numbness disguised as stoic calm. Solution: Stoicism teaches mastery of reaction, not suppression of feeling. Acknowledge emotion, then choose constructive action. Short exercises you can start today. The 60-second rule. When a worry arises, give it 60 seconds. If you can identify an immediate concrete action, do it. If not, write it down for scheduled review and return to the present. Pre-loss rehearsal. 5 minutes. Once a week, imagine briefly something important being taken away. Notice the feelings, then rehearse how you would adapt. This strengthens preparedness without pessimism. Control journal. For a week, record 3 times you acted on something in your control and 3 times you wasted energy on what you could not change. Patterns emerge quickly. Conclusion. The freedom of focus to control what you can and release what you can't is not a retreat from life. It is the most effective engagement with it. When your energy is conserved for true agency, your choices become cleaner, your work more productive, and your relationships healthier. You stop being a reactor and become an architect. The Stoics left us a concise promise. Practice this rule and your mind will grow quiet. In that quiet, you will act with the clarity and strength that life, with all its unpredictability, respects. Start small. Ask the question when pressure rises. Is this mine to steer? If it is, do something deliberate. If it isn't, release it with the same discipline you apply to your action. The mirror of character. Let time reveal what people hide. Marcus Aurelius said, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current. No sooner is a thing brought to sight than it is swept by and another takes its place. You don't need to chase truth. Time reveals everything that's real and everything that's false. People can wear masks for a while, but not forever." The Stoic approach is patience, not apathy. You allow truth to surface naturally instead of trying to control it through fear. Modern example. Instead of asking, "Is she lying to me?" ask, "What patterns have I observed consistently?" Patterns reveal character. Moments reveal emotion. Practical Stoic practice. When in doubt, observe rather than accuse. Let actions speak, and remember, you lose nothing by staying composed. You lose everything by losing yourself in suspicion. The power of observation. See, without judgment, Epictetus reminded his students, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Before judging others, the Stoic first looks inward. Are you projecting your fear, your insecurity, your past wounds? Often we don't see reality. We see our emotions mirrored back at us. The discipline is to pause before labeling something as betrayal. Modern example. She becomes distant. Is it deceit or disconnection? Is it manipulation or her own internal struggle? Only calm observation can tell the difference. Practical Stoic practice. When emotions surge, write down what you feel versus what you know. Facts are rare. Feelings are loud. Separate the two before you act. The test of attachment. Detach. Without indifference, Stoicism doesn't mean apathy. It means holding love without losing self-respect. Seneca wrote, "He who fears loss will never be free." If you fear losing someone, your peace depends on their presence. But when you practice detachment, not from love, but from need, you become emotionally free, and paradoxically, that freedom often draws people closer, because they feel your calm independence, not your emotional hunger. Modern example. When a woman senses that your mood collapses when she withdraws, she feels pressure, not peace. But when you stay grounded, you remind her that your happiness is self-sustained. Practical Stoic practice. Build solitude into your daily life. Eat alone. Walk alone. Reflect alone. When you can enjoy your own company, you stop clinging to others. The courage to ask. Clarity. Without fear, Stoicism values honesty over pretense. When something feels wrong, address it calmly and directly, and not from fear, but from self-respect. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." If a relationship feels uncertain, the Stoic approach isn't to test or manipulate, it's to ask with composure. Modern example. Instead of creating scenarios to catch someone, ask simply, "I feel distance between us. Is there something we should talk about?" The tone matters more than the words. You're not interrogating, you're inviting truth, and your calmness makes it safe for truth to surface. Practical Stoic practice. Before having that conversation, meditate for 5 minutes. Clear your anger. Approach the discussion as if you're seeking peace, not victory. The discipline of response. Do not react. Reflect. Epictetus warned, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." When you respond impulsively to fear, you hand over your control. A Stoic man never lets emotion dictate his tone, words, or choices. Modern example. You read something suspicious. Most men explode, send paragraphs, accusations, ultimatums. The Stoic man breathes. He reflects before reacting. That reflection separates truth from noise and keeps your dignity intact. Practical Stoic practice. When you feel triggered, don't respond for 24 hours. If it still matters tomorrow, address it calmly. If it doesn't, let it pass. That's mastery. The lesson of loss, peace through acceptance. All attachment is a form of risk. To love is to accept uncertainty. Seneca said, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." You can't control whether someone stays or leaves, but you can control whether you crumble or grow when they do. Modern example. When a relationship ends, most people collapse into resentment. The Stoic transforms loss into strength. He studies the lesson. He refines his standards. He builds a better self, not a bitter one. Practical Stoic practice. Write this truth somewhere visible. I own nothing permanently, not even affection. This is not pessimism, it's freedom. The integrity of boundaries. Respect over reaction, Marcus Aurelius wrote. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. If someone betrays you, the Stoic doesn't seek revenge. He reaffirms his boundaries. He knows that self-respect speaks louder than retaliation. Modern example. If someone disrespects you or hides truth, you don't argue. You distance with quiet dignity. Your silence becomes your statement. Practical Stoic practice. Know your line. What behavior violates your values? The moment it's crossed, step back without noise. You don't owe chaos another ounce of your calm. The wisdom of perception. Interpret reality with compassion. Neon. Stoics believed perception shapes peace. Change your interpretation, and you change your experience, Epictetus taught. It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Maybe her distance isn't betrayal. Maybe it's confusion, pain, or fear. You can't know until you listen, and compassion doesn't weaken you, it refines you. Modern example. Approach situations not with suspicion, but curiosity. Ask, what's this moment trying to teach me about myself? That shift turns pain into wisdom. Practical Stoic practice. Each time you're hurt, write, what happened, what I can control, what I learned. This transforms emotion into education. Q. The freedom of letting go. The end is never the end, Seneca once said. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. If a relationship fails, the Stoic doesn't see it as betrayal. He sees it as transition. Every ending clears space for a deeper peace, a truer alignment. To hold on to what's gone is to resist life itself. To let go is to trust that growth is never wasted. Modern example. After heartbreak, most people chase closure from others. The Stoic finds closure within, by understanding that no one owes us peace but ourselves. Practical Stoic. Practice. Sit in silence for 10 minutes daily. Don't analyze, just breathe. In stillness, you'll feel the truth settle. You don't need answers to heal, only acceptance. Closing reflection. The one Stoic question, when you face doubt, betrayal, or emotional distance, remember the only question that truly matters. What is within my control right now? If you can master that question, you'll never be broken by uncertainty again, because you'll realize it's not about exposing someone else's truth. It's about revealing your own strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the rock against which the waves continually break. It stands firm and the raging sea falls still around it.